world, even in a creator-less worldview, the problem of evil is a problem because we can't stand the evil in the world. The fact that right now, like I think Sam Harris says that there is a little girl being raped somewhere, or it's going to happen in a few hours. Just give it a few hours, is the way the world is. That's horrible. But then that's a problem for the atheists too. At least I hope it is, and I'm pretty confident it is by just even the way Sam Harris is stating that as kind of a problem. He's stating it as a problem against Christianity, that why would a good God allow that? But the problem of evil is a problem for him too, that exists. That exists needs to be dealt with. And atheism does not have a good answer for that. It just says, "Oh well, that's the way it is." But "oh well, that's the way it is" seems wholly incorrect towards the situation. It seems like we have some kind of shouldness about humanity that we should not allow that. But that doesn't make sense given atheism. There's no this overall justice thing. If that doesn't have anything to do with me, why should it affect me? The reason that has something to do with me is because justice as a whole, justice as a concept matters, because there's a creator who cares about justice as a whole. And justice isn't just a my thing, a defensive me thing. It's a thing that matters as a whole. It matters that justice is taken care of in that situation. So that's why Christianity, the next point, Christianity gives the best explanation for the problem of evil. It's a problem whether you're an atheist, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're an Islamist, whether you're whatever you are, agnostic, whatever, the problem of evil matters. And Christianity gives the best explanation for it, frankly, because Christianity says that every single deed, in Revelation it says that every deed will be brought forth. Like everything that we've done, every single thing will be dealt with by God on Judgment Day. It says God has set a day. He's set it. He's put it on his calendar. There's a day when he's going to judge, and he's not going to stop judging until every single action has been put in front of him and has been dealt with. So Christianity in that way gives the very best, because it says evil is going to be dealt with in that way. It's going to be dealt with in a justice way. It also says, if you read through Romans 8, that God is working out to correct the world. He's not just going to punish and that's it. Okay, now evil is punished for. He's also going to transform the world, and he's working to transfer the world into a world of justice. And that's what all the prophets point to as well. Again and again, the prophets are pointing to a world that is just. And so God is not only going to deal with all the sin, but he's also working to create a world that is just. And then a few other points here. So first is the problem of evil doesn't touch on the evidence at all. The evidence is still standing. And the problem of evil isn't attacking that. It's kind of having a separate inroads and saying, well, what about all this evil? The problem of evil is a fact no matter what your worldview is. Christianity deals with it best because Christianity is the only worldview that really deals with all of it. It deals with it in bulk. It talks about a world that God is working with humanity, and humanity is a big part of that, because in Romans 8 it says the creation groans for what? It groans for the sons of God. It's groaning for us to be made into what God is making us into, and we'll talk about that more as we go into the Foundation series, because that matters, because that's what God is doing in the world. So, and we're part of it. Next point is evil is not God's fault. So it says in the beginning, evil is so prevalent in this world. With the way Genesis 1, or when we get into the beginnings of Genesis, the way it explains it is that evil exists in this world because man, and by man I mean humankind, men and women, have not taken the role that we were meant to take in the world. We have not taken charge of the world well, because we betrayed God and we turned away from him. We actually gave the ruling of the world over to Satan. And now Satan has rule over the world to kind of form it as he likes. And so, that turning it over to Satan when it was rightfully ours, given to us by God, is not God's fault. He gave us the right. He told us not to eat of that tree. He told us to follow his commandments, to trust him, and we would be able to fulfill those things that he had called humanity to, but we turned away. So the fourth point is it's not God's fault. The accountability for those things actually falls in our hands. And then fifthly, what God is working is worth, in a way, all of the suffering and things in between, because God is really working a world where there can be justice, where there can be people that have this glory in the sense of knowing what evil is like, really knowing what evil is like through having seen it. And I think there's some part of it that we do have to see. I don't know that you can prove that one way or the other, but I think in experience it's very obvious that you need to be able to see and deal with things. It's not just a head knowledge thing. It can't just be put there in our minds, but we have to actually see the evil in the world. We have to see it take place in order for us to really be able to be truly good, to really know that those things are stupid, those things are evil, those things are not worth doing, and pursuing God is worth doing. So we're really learning those things, not just for us, but for the Bible talks about all kinds of creatures outside of animals, outside of the things that we see here, but that there's even more, that God is a creator. So I think that it has to do with more than just humanity or animals and those things. It has to do with all of what God has created, and he's doing something special through us. And so, and again, this Romans 8 picture of a groaning awaiting the sons of God, that there's something very, very worthwhile about what is going to come out of this situation. That as far as the whole universe, as far as everything, that sons of God, that in a way, us as creatures, God always being, God Almighty above us, but us kind of having this Son of Godness about us is really worth taking the risks and kind of the pain and working through all this stuff, that in the end we're going to see it all. We're not just going to forget about it all. We're going to see it all, and we're going to know, hey, this was worth it. We finally, that sort of society that people know that we need. Why is communism so violent? Why are these movements, these political movements in history, why have they been so violent? Because people know society needs to be better. Society, it's not the way it should be, and it's horrible the way it is, and it needs to get fixed. And I think for the whole universe, for all creatures, that doesn't get fixed until it really happens. It's fixed in God's way. And God is working to fix that, not just for us as people, so in our little society we can be good, but so also the world as a whole can be cared for in a way that's right. So also the whole universe can really see something worthwhile and something worth that will produce a kind of change through humanity. So that what God is working is worth it. So again, and this is the last point, is that the problem of evil, which is a lot of times the main argument people are using. If you think about a lot of these arguments people state, whether it's at school or that you've heard over the years, a lot of times it boils down to the problem of evil. And the fact is that problem doesn't touch on the actual evidence that we've talked about. It's the problem of evil is a fact, regardless of what your worldview is. Christianity, in fact, deals with that problem the best. So it's a fact no matter what your worldview is. Christianity is doing a better job of dealing with it. Evil is not God's fault. So it's not God's fault that evil has happened. God gave the reign over to people and was going to build people in to be able to take on that role. And we gave that reign of the world over to Satan. And now we're in Satan's world in a lot of ways. Although God is working to bring back the sons of God, to bring back this concept into the universe, into the earth. And then what God is doing through this bringing about the sons of God, through restoring the world, is worth allowing these things to kind of see to happen, because they are needed.